Today, across Perth, the crier's bell tolls out of respect as we gather to pay our last farewell to André Hissink, a husband, a father, a friend, a veteran who will be missed. May we remember his enthusiasm and zest for our community. May we share his love of his countries. May future generations recall his story of bravery, of honor, and of doing what is right. God preserve his ideals. God protect his family. May God bless him as he takes flight on new wings. God save the King.
My honor to introduce the speaker for today. Sorry he's been here, I'm late. It's my honor to introduce the Master of Ceremony person for today, and that's Richard Tang. Dr. Richard Tang is actually a retired dentist and a humanist who is going to oversee the event today. So, Richard, I take it to you.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Bienvenue tout le monde. Welcome Alma. Yes, my name is Richard Thain, and it is a distinct honor to have been asked by André's family, André Hissink's family, to act as your Master of Ceremonies for today's celebration of André's life. In keeping with André's wishes, this will be a non-religious affair today. I'm here as a secular humanist to officiate and to assist and lead us through today's program. It is perhaps additionally appropriate because I'm also half Dutch. My mother was from Friesland and worked in the Dutch resistance in Amsterdam during the war. So I'd first like to call on Linda Fage to start us off. So Linda, would you please come up to the mic?
All right, so I've got quite a long story here, and I can't remember it all. It's luckily read here by me right now. So just to give you an indication here, we were all saddened by my dad's death. This was earlier this month. But when you reach the age of 104, you know you're not on borrowed time. Or you are, aren't you? That's the better way of putting it. But the sadness remains. There are many things to remember about my dad. I would like to tell you about one that is not so obvious. André was born in Dutch Indonesia in 1919. And when the Second World War started, he was already in university in Holland studying law. He wanted very much to be a lawyer. Instead, he escaped to England and joined the Dutch resistance. and was now going to be a bomber pilot. In England, he met a young teacher, Janet Russell, who was born in China to Christian missionaries. The two shared an attraction, and soon a marriage proposal was made. But by this time, André was back in Suriname, where he was to be trained by bombers. Janet accepted the proposal and had to take the very long boat voyage in troubled waters from England to Indonesia, and they were married. There are apparently some pictures of their wedding on the screen. Are they up? I'm not sure, but they should be, I think, at some point. No sooner were they married than the military sent André to the USA for special training, and his wife could accompany him. Training did not take very long, and he was needed on the front lines in Europe. He was shipped back to England. By now, Janet was pregnant, and no military ship captain would permit a woman abroad. It is bad luck, you know. So pregnant Janet had to stay behind in Texas with no family support. And in June 1943, my brother John was born. And plans could now be made to transport the new mother and baby with a commercial ship to England and to her husband. They set up home, and Dad continued to fly regular bombing runs over Europe. He was shot down once and parachuted to safety. He continued to fly. The war ended, and 3 years after John, I was born in London, England. 3 more years, and my sister Elizabeth was born in Switzerland. The family was growing, but had no chance to put down roots. The European economy was poor, and bomber pilots and their skills were not in demand. What to do? The family emigrated to New Zealand and then to Vancouver in Canada. 3 more years, and my sister Elizabeth was born in Switzerland. The family was growing, but had no chance to put down roots. The European economy was poor, and bomber pilots and their skills were not in demand. What to do? The family emigrated to New Zealand and then to Vancouver in Canada. You may know that. It was not until André joined the UN in Montreal and a senior officer that the family settled. The constant moving and search for a specific aviation career was over. The disruption of the war and the uncertainty of the post-war economy must have put undue pressures on the family until, the family unit, but somehow André's family survived. And it was my father's and mother's strong dedication to the family and family values that prevailed. They provided us children with a warm and caring home and supported us to the end. This is my remembrance of André Hissink, a strong, dedicated, and supportive father. Thank you. I look forward to hearing from your remembrances about André.
Thank you very much, Linda. I wish we could hear more. I mean, that's the short version. As you can see, we'll have here today a mosaic. Happy thoughts, some sad thoughts, seeking to paint the best picture we can of André Hissink. We will share memories and take away with us a deeper understanding and fuller memory of André. I'd like to draw your attention to the monitor here. The kind folks at the Carolina put together a slideshow, and we want to make sure everyone has a chance to view those photos of the André years. I would now like to call upon a number of people who've had a special interaction with André over the years, and some over decades. I'd like to ask Will Tanner to come forward, please. Will is the general manager of Aspira Carolina Retirement Living.
Separated from his love Janet during the chaos of war, André's journey took him through the Dutch East Indies, Australia, San Francisco, and ultimately to England, where he served with the Squadron 320. André's remarkable survival during the war, marked by near misses and close calls, left a permanent mark on his understanding of the value of life. André Hissink spent his final years here at Aspira Carolina Retirement Living, where he enriched our community with his wisdom, resilience, and the warmth of his character. As the general manager, I can attest to the profound impact André had on our residents and staff during his 18 years in our care. Today we bid farewell to a man whose life embodied the triumph of human spirit over adversity. André's legacy is one of courage, love, and a relentless determination to embrace life's challenges. May we remember not only him for his wartime heroics, but also the gentleness and kindness he brought to those around him. Let us take a moment to reflect on André's remarkable journey, express our gratitude for the lessons he leaves behind, and celebrate a life well lived. Thank you, André, for sharing your extraordinary story with us. May you rest in peace.
Very thoughtful and very well expresses. Now, you may notice there are some beautiful flowers we've received here. Amongst them, there's a bouquet from the Dutch Embassy of the Netherlands. This bouquet here, and there's a card inside for the family to read later. And there's another bouquet. Actually, it's from the Dutch Ministry of Defense. The red, white, and blue ribbons might have given you a hint to where the bouquets were sent from, but it's very touchy to have these included here today. Not only did they send flowers, but we're honored to have Mark de Wit, the defense attaché from the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to Canada, to speak with us, and accompanying Mark de Wit is Wendy Sewell, the Assistant Defense Attaché. So please, Mark, would you please come forward and share your thoughts?
Well, let me start to say it's my honor to be here today. Well, good afternoon. My name is Mark de Wit. As mentioned, I'm a Dutch Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, and currently the Defense Attaché at the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands here in Canada. It's my privilege to address you on behalf of the Embassy, the Ambassador, Her Excellency Ines Kopolse, who regrets that she could not be here today. She's actually in the Netherlands, and of course myself. I will start off with a brief overview of the military history of Mr. Hissink, but you've heard bits and pieces already, so I might be falling into repetition there. Pardon that. So André Louis Armand Hissink was born in Batavia, Indonesia, on the 26th June 1919. At that time, this was a colony of the Netherlands. He was a third-year law student at Utrecht University when, on October the 3rd, 1939, he was called up to join the military service that was mobilizing at that time. A week later, he was in uniform already. After the bombing of Rotterdam, which was mentioned, that took place on the 14th of May 1940, he escaped to England to be able to continue fighting to free his country from occupation. The Dutch armed forces were already forced to surrender at that time, so he's not fleeing the armed forces or anything. They were just decommissioned, and he wanted to continue to fight. When he got to England, he was assigned to become a naval aviator. He successfully applied for that position by his own motivation. I would like to quote him on this when he was asked how he became a pilot. Quote, "That was my preference, because if your airplane crashes, you will die instantly. But on the battlefield as a soldier, you might be lying there in the mud, maybe brought to the hospital and become disabled for the rest of your life. And as a sailor, if your ship goes down, you go with it." So smart choice, I would say. After his flight training, which made him travel almost the entire globe, which was mentioned already, from the Dutch Indies to Australia to the United States and finally back to England, where in 1943 he joined the Dutch-staffed 320 Squadron. He stayed with his squadron the remaining of the Second World War, flying B-25 Mitchell bombers. 320 Squadron carried out war missions over the Netherlands, Belgium, France and Germany. In December 1944, André was shot out of the sky after an attack on the Germans during the Battle of the Bulge in the Belgian Ardennes. 2 gunners in his airplane were trapped when their escape hatch did not open. Lieutenant Hissink at that time managed to help one of them crawl forward over the bomb bay, but the second air gunner was stuck and went down with the plane. André managed to escape using his parachute. The loss of his friend and colleague made a great impression on him. André flew over 60 wartime missions over Europe, making him a genuine World War II hero. He was the last remaining member of the Dutch 320 Squadron, which was based near Idlebridge, England. After the war, he left the forces and worked as an operations officer for our Royal Dutch Airlines, KLM, in Switzerland, in New Zealand and later on in Montreal. In Canada, he continued his career at the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. He was a guest of honor at many reunion events in England and in the Netherlands, and he spoke frequently about his war years and his time with the Dutch 320 Squadron. He is no less a bearer of the War Remembrance Cross with the clasp War Flights 1940-1945, Netherlands May 1940, and Java Sea 1941-1942, and the Flying Cross. Somebody has to wake up. In 2022, he regained his citizenship from the Kingdom of the Netherlands. The rare exemption to the government's dual nationality rules were tailor-made and personally signed off by our King, Willem-Alexander. Although an enthusiast, committed, fully integrated and loyal Canadian, he valued it very highly to regain the citizenship from the country he fought so hard for. He expressed that he wanted to die as a Dutchman. His last wish is to be buried at a military cemetery in the Netherlands. We will make sure that that is going to happen. And then some personal notes from me. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Hissink last year on the occasion of his 104th birthday celebration here in Perth. I remember him being very surprised but cheerful by all the attention he got. He made sure that his jacket, wearing all his medals and signs of an impressive history, was fitted correctly. Still a sharply dressed professional. Whilst we were walking up to the front of the building where the parade would pass by, he asked me to signal him when he was supposed to stand up and take the salute or make the salute. Still wanting to do it all in the correct military way, of course. Impresses me. With a little help, he got up and took the parade, whispering to me, "Is this all for me?" Yes, it was, and rightfully so. He got to sign a door of a truck of a veterans organization. I was asked to sign as well. it felt a bit out of place to sign my name next to someone who I consider to be a true hero. When we got back in the building, there was this young gentleman from a local radio station who wanted just a short 2-minute interview with Mr. Hissink, the boy he knew. After a very clear and bright answer of about 20 minutes on his first question, I believe the young interviewer knew that there was no way that he could politely finish a job in the planned 2 minutes. But I guess he didn't regret it at all, because Mr. Hissink's story is that of a unique and legendary veteran. I was fortunate to be there and be able to listen in. I was joined that day by a young female intern, and at our goodbyes he made sure that he got a hug from her. So still at 104 years old, still a charming airman. So judging on his strong spirit, and maybe young spirit, and clear mind, and the plans he talked about, I was sure that we would meet again on his 105th birthday, or maybe on the occasion of the publication of his book. Of course, in all realism, 104 years is already a very impressive age, certainly with a history like his. It is reassuring that he will live on in the memories of many and forever in the thankfulness of a nation. Now I would like to read out the letter that was written by our Ambassador, Her Excellency Ines Kopolse. I was filled with great sadness when I heard your father and one of the Netherlands' beloved liberators had passed away. I was honored to meet him when we restored his Dutch nationality in 2022. It was such a wonderful day, and his unique story touched us all deeply. Please accept my condolences and heartfelt sympathy, also on behalf of the people of the Netherlands. Rest assured that our thoughts are with the family in this difficult time. I wish you great strength in coping with your personal loss. Finally, you may rest assured that your father's courage and commitment on behalf of the Netherlands will forever be appreciated, and his contribution to our liberation still highly valued. Your father will remain in our memories. Ines Kopolse. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, and I'm sure everyone here and Andre's family truly appreciates you being here and sharing that with us. I'd now like to ask a family friend and the family lawyer, Dan Mayo, to come forward and say a few words, please. Dan?
Wow, 104 years. This is a long life well lived. I first met Andre on the occasion of his 50th wedding anniversary with Janet at a garden party in Merrickville at Linda and Carl's place. Now, normally you might expect that a 50th wedding anniversary was fairly recently. Turns out that was 32 years ago. André, as we all know, was a hero of World War II. But the shadow cast by that terrible conflict is with us still. Those of us born in the first generation after the war had fathers or uncles who fought. But now, the third generation post-war, for them the shadow grows fainter. But I think this is a tendency we must resist. The Dutch do a commendable job of keeping the memory of their liberation alive. And
Microphone.
acknowledging the contribution of the Canadian Army in that liberation. And by the way, we do appreciate all the tulip bulbs you send us in. So, arguably, the events of the liberation of 1945 were the most significant events in Dutch history since the defeat of the Spanish Habsburgs who oppressed the Dutch 4 centuries ago. So it's little wonder that the Second World War and the liberation is, well, to speak plainly, a big deal in Holland. Now, almost every year until André was 99, he returned to his native Holland for the commemoration of the liberation of the Nazis. As was mentioned by the military attaché, he was the last surviving member of the famous Dutch Squadron 320, which was a RAF squadron, Royal Air Force for Britain. He was ultimately a navigator and a pilot of the twin-engine Mitchell bombers. He and many other young, brave Dutchmen continued the fight from abroad after the fall of Holland in 1940. As indeed other men from other occupied countries. Coincidentally, I also had another client from the RAF who flew. He was in the Czech squadron. And I know there was free French and free Poles. And after the war, as you've heard, André continued his aviation career. He joined KLM Airlines in Holland. At some point later, he transferred to New Zealand, where he and his family lived for several years. And there they obtained New Zealand citizenship. Continuing his distinguished aviation career, he ended up with a job in Canada with the United Nations International Civil Aviation Authority in Montreal. And here he became a proud Canadian citizen. But along the way, as the military attaché mentioned, an odd legal problem arose for our Dutch war hero. Unlike Canada, Holland does not permit dual citizenship. So André was no longer a Dutch citizen. And this anomalous situation persisted for years, despite the annual celebration of Squadron 320, and André being feted by the Dutch, including one time I'm told he flew with the Dutch Prime Minister, but he wasn't a Dutchman. So, however, and happily, after some ferocious lobbying by the Dutch military and the Dutch war veterans, eventually, the King of Holland intervened, saved the day, and restored his Dutch citizenship when he was only 103. So, and I'm told that that's the only time in the history of the centuries of the House of Orange where that exemption was granted. So, André continued to make history almost until the end. And so, goodbye, Andre. I'm very glad to have known you. Thank you.
I'm now honored to invite Susan Doran from the Royal Canadian Legion, the Perth branch. Is Susan, I spoke with you, there she is. Please come forward, Susan, and share some of your thoughts, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm in charge of the banner program, and last year at Andre's 104th birthday, where we did the parade, we presented Andre with a mock-up banner, just on paper, because the company hadn't had the time to produce the banner, and he was quite taken aback by it. And we were able to put this lovely banner up for the first time this September. One of 341 veteran banners in Perth.
Wow.
So, and we have orders for new ones again this year. This is our 5th year, and it's a very, very successful program. But I have a few words to say. It takes a minute to find a special person, an hour to appreciate them, and a day to love them. But it takes a lifetime to forget them. Andre was one of those special people. Although I only knew him for a few short years, it was an absolute honor and privilege to put birthday flags on this front lawn each June to celebrate his birthday. It was heartwarming to see the drive-by parades honoring him and the other veterans living here. It brought me to tears hearing from Laurel Brennan about Andre standing and saluting for the entire parade of hundreds of veterans on motorcycles during our banner weekend activities this past September. And finally, my witnessing Andre seeing for the first time his very own banner proudly displayed on a light pole at Tim Hortons on Highway 7 was a moment never to be forgotten by me, and one I will treasure and cherish forever. I thank him for his many years of service and his dedication to fighting for our freedom. Death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal. Thank you for those wonderful memories, Andre.
So I'll ask everyone just to perhaps introduce yourself, say your name, and so on. Yeah. Thank you very much.
My name is Isabel Ann McRae, and I'm a counselor here in Perth, Ontario. And I'm here today to represent our mayor, Judy Brown, who unfortunately had a bad fall during the Christmas season and is unable to be here today. First of all, from the town of Perth, I want to give my deepest condolences and heartfelt sympathy to the family of André Hissink. I also want to congratulate our members of the Legion for the incredible presentations that I've been able to be a part of. I did come for his birthday celebration, and it was so incredibly done. And it was one of those pivotal moments in my life where you can actually feel your heart beating, and you feel such a warmness. And that day he was absolutely spot on and so sharp. And I couldn't believe how well spoken he was when I had the opportunity to meet with Andre. We are very proud of our veterans, and today we are extremely proud of Andre and his contribution to Canada and to our freedoms, and also to the community of Perth. He will be a legacy that this community will never forget. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I had the chance to speak with some of you before the celebration of life here, and I enjoyed chatting with you, and some of you did have some interesting stories, but I hope you haven't turned shy. But like I say, you're very welcome. We're a friendly group. We're all like family almost in a sense. And oh, there you go. Sorry. Come right up, sir. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Just introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Jasper. I am Andre's great-grandson. When I first met him, I was living in Britain, couldn't have been older than 6 years old. I was visiting my cousin's house, and I was just, doing what a 6-year-old does by playing with Ben, and then there was a sharply well-dressed man suddenly in the living room, and I was told he was my great-grandfather, and he wowed me with these incredible stories that I'd never really heard before. Like, the only glimpses of, or I guess you could have said I had, were in the occasional history class at that age, but I don't know, such a legendary man at that age, I was quite taken aback. And throughout my age and my years, I had met him occasionally, and every time, he was always such a polite and kind man. He was one of the best role models I had throughout my life. I'd only grown closer with him as I had gotten older, and when moving back to Canada, visiting him at this retirement home every so often, it was a really wonderful time. He was a wonderful spirit to have around. Just as I'll never forget the first time I met him, I'll never forget the last, when I talked to him and I told him about a little bit of my success in college, how I'm going into the film industry, and how I just got my first little IMDb credit as a sound guy, just a sound guy on a little documentary. And the look on his face when he told me he was proud of me is something I definitely won't forget. And I'm really happy to say that I couldn't be more proud to have him as my great-grandfather. Now, I have some words from my aunt about it. It hasn't been sent through, but my aunt has some words about him.
I'm not the aunt. I'm the sister of the aunt.
Grandpa's loss is beyond words. Having been here all of our lives, he had sort of become immortal. Even at his great age, it was hard to ever imagine a time he would not be here. My mom called him an anchor for our family for generations. He had been my sister Alex's and my father figure from such a very young age. We feel beyond blessed for this. I know many people will talk about the family legend, the hero, the survivor. He was a million little parts of our lives. Talking to a friend about him, I found myself realizing he is still here in all of his family and in all the lives he touched. His influence is forever in our daily life. Like the way Alex and I spread the butter and clean the knife, and how we've taught our own children, and in the way that I see our granny and our cousin Mike's front teeth. Grandpa called them butterfly teeth. He taught us resilience, determination, and values, inspired us with life stories and love. I think I can speak for all of us about how miraculous it felt to be able to walk up to him and talk to him when we woke up. When he woke up from his coma on Boxing Day, and how beautiful it felt to know that he knew how much we loved him before he passed. I'm forever grateful to my sister Alex and Uncle John for managing to bring him round enough gift to us. Precious last memories. Grandpa, I love you, and forever. Your legacy lives on. Kate, Jeremy, and Ben.
And thank you very much. And I think you nailed it when you said a role model. That was the word I was trying to think of before, but thanks for that. And I forgot to mention, to send, please send our best wishes for a speedy recovery to the mayor, so, if the councilor's here, yeah. So who's next to speak and share some memories? Yes, sir.
I'll just do it from here.
Well, here, maybe, I wonder if I could reach you, will that reach? No?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It'll only take a minute,
Okay.
less than a minute. He
All the
used
time
to
you
come
like.
and I had lunch with him, and he said he likes to sit with the women because they talk a lot more, and I don't believe anything they say. And the men, he said, all they do is talk about football and hockey.
Did you hear that at the back? I don't want you to miss this. This is a goodie. Did you hear the comments? No, that Andre liked to, he preferred to sit at the dining room with the women.
Yeah,
Do I have to expand?
yes.
Because
They talked a
they
lot.
talk a lot, he liked to listen to them, and now
He-
did you
and he
say
didn't-
he
and he
believed
didn't-
them or didn't
No, he
believe a word
didn't
they said?
believe them.
He didn't believe a word they said.
He didn't believe a word.
But he liked being with them anyhow. He
Yeah.
preferred them. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Now, who would like to follow that? good.
Along with that, I
Yes.
will say he did love the women.
Oh.
And very often his room was on the way to the dining room.
Yeah.
And he'd be struggling with the walker to get out because our doors are very heavy. And because they're fire doors.
Yes.
So it was difficult to manage. And very often I'd be there and I'd help him. I'd hold the door or I'd say, just back up, I'll get the door and then you come out. And he always took my hand and kissed me.
Oh, gentlemen.
Oh, yes. Even at 103 or 4.
Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear, yes or no? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I'd be embarrassed, well, I would be embarrassed. We're on a roll here, people. Let's, it's very informal and, on a personal note, I came a week or so ago to meet with Linda and Carl, and from the moment I walked in, I met the people at the desk, and they showed me around. And everyone I met here. So, and I'm sincere. It's a very nice place you have, and the people you've attracted here. So, I'll be 70 next. So, I'd like to put my name on your waiting list, Will.
Okay.
I mean, really. I mean, anyhow, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Andre's room is available.
Yeah.
Oh, it's available. I don't know. They had to get, yeah.
My name is Louise McDermott, and I was very impressed with Andre. Not only because he was a kind and friendly man, but that he didn't stop being himself. He didn't stop living when he was here, and he didn't seclude himself. He liked to have, I felt he liked to have fun. And one evening, because we're allowed here to borrow the kitchen, borrow the kitchen facilities in the games room, I thought it'd be nice to invite Andre for dinner, because I like to cook. And so I invited him, and we cooked a dinner. It didn't turn out as well as I hoped, but he was such a gentleman. He wouldn't complain. And I set the table, and I had some wine, and we had wine glasses, and we had a tablecloth and napkins and a fancy dinner set up. And he so enjoyed it. And I thought, it pleased me because it brought back memories of the past with my husband. And I think it probably brought back memories for him. But what I admired, he enjoyed it so much. And what it meant to me was, as you grow old, you don't have to give up everything. You don't have to become someone else. He was himself. And it gave me lots of joy and encouragement.
Yeah, and I see, are you wearing orange to commemorate the Dutch in the ceremony today?
No.
No? Oh.
It's another special
Oh.
ingredient,
Oh, okay.
you might say.
Would you like the
It's
microphone?
marmalade.
Okay.
Andre always liked his marmalade, and he hated those little things.
Would you use this, please? It just, the people at the back really want to learn, the people at the back really want to learn about your marmalade.
Oh, well, I didn't make it. It's gotta come down a bit. I'm not that tall.
From the bottom.
Okay.
Anyway, Andre loved his marmalade in his jar, not in those little things, because his hands got so sticky. So I would always provide him with a jar of marmalade. And I too got a kiss on the hand. Yes, and it was such a pleasure to know him all these years. Thank you, Linda and Carl.
You?
I'm Beth Ewell. I've only known Andre for a very short time. It's only just over 5 years. But let me tell you what a fantastic fellow he was, and you all know that. So luckily, we have programs with some of the younger students in one of the schools here in town. And last year, Will and his wife arranged for Andre to do like a Zoom call with the students. And so I sat in on it and I recorded quite a few of the little questions. So the students would ask him a question, and similar to the reporter that was going to take 2 minutes with him, they got the answers, the long version. It certainly wasn't Cliff Notes by any means. And I can tell you that the students loved every second that they got to spend with Andre. And so he certainly made a connection, even though he might be 104, he certainly made a connection with people much younger than himself.
And that's not surprising, is it, from what we know of Andre? And who is next? Oh. Do we have, oh yes, I knew there was someone just hovering, teetering.
My name is Judy Farrell, and I'm the bus driver here. And Andre loved to go on the bus. He always said to me that I took him on roads that he'd never seen before, and he never knew where he was the whole time we were gone. But he loved every minute of it, especially if we stopped for ice cream.
Please, before you leave, look around. See this is like a once-in-a-lifetime moment with the people who knew Andre and came out today. Well, we may never be together again, but I think we'll always remember today's celebration of life of André Hissink. So in closing, I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of Linda and the whole family to thank you for coming and for the warmth and the support and the love that you showed him. Thank you very much.